In this section, we're going to be going over the different steps you'll need to take to prepare your roof to install metal roofing. One of the most common questions I've gotten over the years is whether or not it's a good idea to install your metal roofing over top of an existing roof. Of course, you always need to refer to your local building codes to determine whether or not a second layer of roofing is permitted. If it is, and you've got one layer of shingles on there and the roof deck is in good condition, I'd say go ahead and install the metal roofing using the techniques that I'm about to show you right over top of the old shingles. If you do so, you're going to save yourself a great deal of time, liability, and expense tearing off the old roof. Over the years, I'd say probably 90% of the time where we encountered a roof with one layer of shingles on it, we went ahead and went over top of the roof with strips and then with the metal roofing. In the end, if you use the techniques that I've described, you'll never know that the shingles are on underneath the metal. One of the most important steps in preparing your roof to install your metal roofing is going to be installing wood strips or purlins all the way around. Now, there are people out there who'll tell you it's okay to just apply your metal roofing directly to the wood deck or to shingles, but this is something that I never do. Most of the metal roofs that I've seen over the years that other people have installed and had major problems such as screws backing out or the paint coating fading prematurely were installed directly over the decking without wood strips.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit subscribe so you can be a part of my channel. You can watch all my videos that cover complete stages of both shingle and metal roofing. There's tons more content coming out soon about all aspects of roofing, including skylights and trim and sheds and whatever you're interested in.
Now, these wood strips serve several important purposes. First of all, and most importantly, they're going to give you something solid and secure to put your screws through. OSB decking, which is your most common type of decking in homes today, doesn't provide much holding power for your screws. Your yellow pine 2x4s or 1x4s are going to give you a really solid grip on your screws to prevent any wind damage or the screws backing out at a later date. Another benefit of using these wood strips under your metal roof will be evident if you have a roof like on an older house that's got some up and down in the decking and there's a little bit of waviness. You can easily use these wood strips to help even out the plane of the roof. What we usually do is just take a couple wood shims, put them up under the wood strip in the area where the decking is dipping, and that's going to help straighten out the roof a lot. I'll tell you though, don't go crazy putting shims in everywhere and spending a lot of time with it. If there's just a little depression in the deck, by the time you put the wood strip on and put your metal roof on, you're really not going to see it when you're all finished. Another important benefit of using the wood strips is the airspace that they create between the deck and the metal roofing panels after you install them. This airspace is going to help keep your roof cooler by allowing a little bit of ventilation and also preventing any conductive heat transfer between the metal and the roof deck. The airspace is also important, especially if you're roofing over top of shingles, because metal expands and contracts as it heats and it cools. This expansion and contraction up against the shingles would cause the backside of the metal panel to get scratched easily and rust prematurely. On this side of the model, you'll see that we've installed a synthetic roofing underlayment. This is going to happen in situations where it's new construction or where you tear off the old shingles or whatever type of roofing, go down to the roof deck. This style of synthetic underlayment is specifically designed to go under metal roofing. It's a really high quality product. It's really kind of tacky. It's nice to walk on if you have a really steep roof. It helps you get a little more grip. You can use this. You can also use any of your organic felts, like 15 or 30 pound felts, very common to go under the metal roofing as well. That'll work just fine. So that's another option for going underneath your metal. And down here on our porch roof, we've illustrated a third sort of decking style that works really well with metal roofing. And you can see that there is no real decking. What we've done is just applied 2x4 purlins straight down to the rafters. And this works really well. This is kind of the old way that people put on metal. You don't see this a lot in new construction over the attic part of the house, but it works particularly well over porches and areas that are outside. So I always recommend going with the 2x4 over this, not a 1x4. You might want to space them a little closer together because you don't have any plywood decking to provide any support. But this will work really well to support your metal roofing. if you don't have any decking. Now we're going to go over the steps you need to take to prepare your roof to install the wood strips. Like I said, when it's done, we're going to trim things out so that you don't see the wood strips or the old shingle. Regardless of which style of edge detail that you pick, and we'll go over those in another section, you're going to want to trim back your shingles all the way to the outside edge of the fascia board. To do this, I prefer using a razor knife with a hook blade, although you can use a regular razor blade if you have one, or if you have to, you could just break the shingles back so that you don't see anything overhanging the edge. In most situations, I like to open up the ridge for ventilation and let any hot air escape your attic. The way the metal panels are configured, they don't require any more modification to allow your attic to ventilate. To open up the ridge, what you need to do is take off any shingles on the ridge and cut back the decking about 2 inches on either side. To cut back the decking, you can just use a regular circular saw. Just be sure to set the blade depth deep enough to only cut back the decking. You don't want to cut into any of your rafters. When we're done cutting the ridge open, I like to install a piece of window screen over the opening to make sure that no debris like leaves or pine needles or any bugs or critters can get inside the attic. Now that we've got our roof all prepared, the shingles are cut back to the edge of the fascia, it's time to start putting down our wood strips. You've got a couple different options as to which type of wood you use to put down under your metal. You can either use a 1x4 or a 2x4. In this part of the country, we often use a yellow pine 1x4. For this video, we're going to use a yellow pine 2x4. Either will work fine. One type of wood that you don't want to use for your metal roofing project is any kind of pressure-treated wood. Pressure-treated wood contains chemicals that are extremely corrosive to the metal fasteners that you'll be using to screw down your metal roof with. The chemicals in the wood are also potentially corrosive to the paint coating on the underside of the metal. If you think about it, you don't really need pressure-treated wood because the wood underneath your metal is going to stay just as dry as the rest of your house will. Start by applying your wood strips all around the perimeter of your roof. You kind of want to picture frame your entire roof before you start running the boards in the field of the roof. Place the boards right along the edge of the roof, but make sure that they don't extend out past the edge of the fascia or you'll be able to see them from the ground. To install your wood strips, you can either use screws or nails. For the video, we're going to be using screws. Make sure that when you put your screws or your nails in, that you put 2 screws or nails in to your wood strip on top of the rafter. That's going to help keep the board from warping or bowing underneath the metal later. You're going to want to make sure of a couple things with whatever type of fastener you use. First of all, make sure that the fastener you're using is long enough to go through the wood strip you're using, any shingles on the roof if there are any, through the decking, and into the rafter below. Second most important thing is to make sure that you're screwing most of your wood strips into something more secure than just the decking. To make it easy to find the rafters to screw the wood strips into, we're going to go ahead and snap some chalk lines on the roof before we put the strips down. An easy way to find the rafters underneath the roof is to look at the fascia and find the indentations where the nails were used to hold the fascia to the rafter tail. If you got your ridge cut open, it's going to be easy to find the top of the rafter there. Dave is going to help me snap a few lines before we put the wood strips down. Here's an easy tip for you to avoid having to measure out for each board. I want you to make 2 template boards that are 20 inches long. These 20-inch template boards are going to allow you to set each one of your wood strips 2 feet on center. All you got to do is set your 2 boards down on the last strip that you installed, and then set the next strip down, butting up against the tops of these 2 template boards. This is going to ensure that each board is 2 feet on center away from each other. To support your flashings later, you're going to want to install small sections of your wood strips all around the different penetrations in your roof. In this case, we've got a metal pipe, we've got a PVC pipe. If you've got chimneys, anything that's coming out from your roof, like a skylight even, you're going to want to put a bunch of wood strips around it. We'll show you later how to install the flashings and how this all ties together. But for now, put wood in a good perimeter all around the flashing. I just used the scraps from cutting all the rest of the 2x4s or 1x4s. If you're in doubt about how much wood you need, go ahead and put some extra down. It's just going to end up hidden beneath the roof when you're finished. When you're applying the strips to the hip sections of the roof, you want to kind of frame out that hip just like we did the gable end sections. So for here, what we did was start with different strips around the bottom edge, going up the side of the hip. Then we put the board in between. Same thing on the side here. We kind of framed everything out. We've got this board in the middle to serve as blocking to attach the panel to when we get to that point. Similarly, when you're applying strips into your valley sections, you want to shoot to support that piece of valley flashing that's going to go in there later. So what we've done is we've used 2 2x4s in this situation. We left them out of the middle of the valley a little bit, spaced these out so that the edge of the valley metal flashing that we're going to put in is going to hit right about here, right in the middle. That way the valley flashing will be well supported. It'll also give good support for the panels that come over top. And those are the basic steps that you'll need to take to prepare your roof before you install your metal.
If you'd like the complete series for yourself on how to do shingle or metal roofing, you can go to my website, RoofingIntelligence.com, and there you can get a membership to either stream or you can get a DVD in the mail that'll show you how to do all the steps for either of those types of roofing. Enjoy this video. Thanks so much for watching.